Hello, everybody. Welcome into Sports by GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Jeremy Lapidus. Today is Tuesday, January 7th. Hope everybody is having a great day today. It is a wild day in sports. More news coming from all around the sports world. We're going to hit 5 different sports today. We haven't done that in a long time. We're going to start off in the NFL. Way too early mock draft 1.0 for the top 10. We're going to go through that. Then we will turn our attention to the NBA. Jimmy Butler, the star of the show, the center of attention right now. We'll talk about where he might end up. Transition to baseball. The MLB offseason continues to heat up as we get towards the beginning of the season in the MLB. Hockey. Ovechkin is on pace to break the all-time goals record. We'll talk about that, and we're going to throw in a little college football as well. The FCS champion has been crowned. We'll talk about all of that and more coming up in just a second. But before we do that, remember, if you would like to be an even bigger part of the show than you already are, all you need to do is go to gsmcpodcast.net. Or if you are on YouTube, you can use that super chat feature. If you do either of those two things, a message should pop up on the bottom of the screen for you, me, and everybody else around the world to see. If you do have a burning question about sports, anything at all that you would like to ask, go ahead and throw that in the comments. Throw it in the chat. I will get to it as soon as I possibly can. I appreciate everybody so much for sticking around, talking some sports with me here on a beautiful Tuesday, January 7th. But like I was saying, we're going to start off our show here today talking a little bit about the NFL. The way too early mock draft is here. My mock draft 1.0 last year, we waited a little bit later, but now that the draft order is set, we are going to just dive right in. We're only going to do a top 10. There's 18 teams that are set, but right now, only a top 10, as it is, again, January. Playoffs haven't even started. We're going to do a way too early mock draft and see how it holds up. The Titans have the number 1 overall draft pick again. No trades, no moves in this draft. We're going to do exactly as it stands. The Titans have the number 1 overall draft pick. They are a team that desperately needs a quarterback. I have seen the comparisons between Will Levis and Sam Howell, the Titans and the Commanders of last year. They're going to go out, they're going to get their guy, the best quarterback in this draft, and the only one that I think really deserves to go in the first round, in Cam Ward. Cam Ward goes 101 to the Tennessee Titans, trying to change their fate. That could be a good pick. I've talked a lot about the Titans. I think that's one that could potentially change the way that their franchise is heading. And number 2, the Cleveland Browns are on the board. Number 2, we have Shedeur Sanders out of Colorado. Now, this is a Browns team that I could see going out and getting a bridge quarterback, waiting till next season. But this is also a Browns team with Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, head coach and GM, that really want to prove, hey, we deserve to be here. And they need to hit on a quarterback for that. They've been struggling the last couple seasons because they don't have a quarterback. Now, obviously, they were able to make the playoffs just last year. They're trying to get back to that, prove that keeping them around was not a mistake. They go out, they grab Shedeur Sanders, the second best quarterback in this draft class. Still a little high for me, but maybe in that Brown system with a good offensive line, he can develop into something solid. And number 3, we have the Giants, and this is the first real departure from where a lot of mock drafts are going. The Giants here could draft Travis Hunter, a star cornerback, a star receiver. They could also potentially reach on a quarterback. Now, I don't think they're going to do that. I think that would actually be very stupid of them to do that if they were to reach for a quarterback here. Instead, what I think is going to happen is I think they go ahead and get the best offensive lineman on the board, that being Will Campbell out of LSU. He is a specimen, honestly. That is by far the best pick for them here. They need offensive line help badly. They were the 29th best offensive line in the league by a bunch of different metrics. They desperately need some help. They'll go get a bridge quarterback or maybe take a chance on a quarterback in the 5th, 4th, 6th round, something like that at the end of the draft, but I don't see them taking a quarterback here or taking Travis Hunter. They take Will Campbell at 3. The Patriots at 4 have all their prayers answered, though, right? They had that number 1 overall pick, and my thought was they were going to take Travis Hunter. Instead, they get him at 4. They don't have to do any shenanigans to get him either. Travis Hunter to the New England Patriots can play both ends. I'm really curious to see how this goes because I think he's a guy that could do it at minimum, have packages on both sides of the ball. He is that kind of athlete. Very excited to see what he does. Out of Colorado, the Patriots select Travis Hunter at number 4. Number 5 in the draft is where it gets interesting because the Jaguars need a lot, but they don't necessarily need a quarterback, right? The Jaguars here could go out and they could get a pass rusher like an Abdul Carter. They could get a wide receiver like T-Mac, Tetaroa McMillan, right? They could go out and get some of these really high caliber prospects on offense, on defense, but I think what they need the most is a cornerback. Their pass defense was atrocious last season. Going out and getting a guy like Will Johnson out of Michigan can really help shore up the back end of that defense. You have a solid pass rush. You have a solid pass rush behind guys like Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen. That is going to be a pretty good duo for a couple years down the line. You add some help in the secondary, that defense could turn into something. Will Johnson is the number 5 pick in my mock to the Jaguars. At number 6, this is a no-brainer. The Raiders need some help. They still don't quite have that quarterback. I think they're going to pay a ton of money to go and get Sam Darnold in free agency. That's my feel this offseason. We will see, though. I have them taking T-Mac, Tetaroa McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona. That is a no-doubter pick for me. He is going to help and kind of fill, I guess, that Justin Jefferson role or that Devontae Adams role that they had last year. They still have Brock Bowers. That is an offense that will probably be better as long as they have the right answer at quarterback. At number 7, the New York Jets are on the clock, and what falls to them is Abdul Carter, the edge out of Penn State. They desperately needed pass rush this season, right? As good as their secondary is, and their defense undoubtedly took a step back, but as good as their defense was, they needed that pass rush. They lost some pass rushing talent. When the pass rush is getting home, this is a Jets team that just looks completely different. They go get Abdul Carter, who arguably is the best player in this draft. He falls all the way down to 7. The Jets get a steal of a pick here. Now, things could change if they don't know what they're doing offensively. Obviously, it all depends on the rest of the offseason, but I'm giving Abdul Carter to the Jets here at number 7. Heading to number 8, the Panthers have a golden opportunity to get some run help. Defensively, they were one of the worst run defenses in all of the league. They desperately need a big run stopper. I have them going out and getting Mason Graham, the defensive lineman out of Michigan. He is one of the best run defenders in all of football. He is someone that can plug and play. You put him next to some healthy players coming back. This is a Panthers defense that can immediately take a step up, at least against the run. You can shore up the rest of the run. You can shore up the rest of the defense through free agency and the rest of the draft, but addressing this issue through the draft, he's probably the best available there. I have them taking him at number 8. Heading to number 9, the New Orleans Saints need a lot, but what they definitely need is an offensive lineman. So I have them taking the best offensive lineman, in my opinion, left on the board in Kelvin Banks Jr. out of Texas. He's a big guy, and the Saints, they have a lot of needs. They're not going to be good for a long time, but they need to shore up that offensive line. Kelvin Banks will help with that and really help get that running game going, something that they had at the beginning, but injuries kind of slowed them down. And finally, at number 10, the final pick in our way too early mock draft, I have the Bears taking, of course, an offensive lineman. They go to the state of Ohio to take offensive tackle Josh Simmons out of Ohio State. Another huge body for them. He is someone that is going to help protect the blind side of Caleb Williams. They desperately need that. Caleb Williams was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the history of football last year. You can't have that coming again. Now, some of that was on Caleb. He's got his own work, but shoring up that offensive line should be steps 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 for the Chicago Bears as they try to build on the success that they had by beating the Packers at the end of 2025. But let me know what you think. Who are your top 10 in the draft? We'll run through it one more time real quick. Titans select Cam Ward. Browns, Shedeur Sanders. Giants get Will Campbell. Patriots get Travis Hunter. The Jags get Will Johnson. Raiders, Tet McMillan. The Jets, Abdul Carter. The Panthers, Mason Graham. The Saints, Kelvin Banks Jr. And the Bears get Josh Simmons at 10. Let me know what you think. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, we turn our attention over to the NBA. Jimmy Butler that situation is getting a little bit out of hand in Miami. We'll talk about a couple landing spots that I think would be good for him and what potential trade packages could look like in that case. We'll be right back here on Sports by GSMC Podcast Network.